Hi, I am Amoy Smith. I studied the Cultural and Creative Industries degree with a concentration in International Relations and Cinematic and Audiovisual Arts in the year of 2020 to 2023. I have to big up Dr. Hicklin and Dr. Plummer for being great teachers while I was at UWI. Their courses that I attended definitely helped to shape who I am today. Yeah, and I'm grateful to have been in their classes, and it definitely helped to shape who I am today. It helped to propel me in my creative career. And once more, I am Amoy Smith, proud graduate of the University of the West Indies, Mona.
The Creative Frequency Podcast is brought to you by the Institute of Caribbean Studies, under the umbrella of the Faculty of Humanities and Education at the University of the West Indies, Mona. You can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or wherever you can catch us. Thank you for joining us while we explore Jamaica's cultural and creative industries. My name is Rachel Ann Fenderson.
And I'm Radhika Myers. Together we are
R Squared, the co-host of the Creative Frequency Podcast.
Rachel, have you ever sat for hours thinking about how to improve or create things that you love to make? Did you ever have a support team in your corner championing you along your journey?
Yes, actually. So figuring out how to close a garment with a new stitch technique, or how to make my designs come alive, usually when I'm drafting a pattern. That's usually when I'll think for hours on how to execute and fix a garment in this way. Sometimes it happens when I'm actually drawing a new garment or I have a new idea. I'm usually thinking of how the actual garment is going to be produced. And then actually in regards to your question in terms of having a support team, most definitely my brothers and sisters, my cousins, friends, and parents. So being an entrepreneur at times, it actually can be very lonely. So usually when you have someone in your corner that's helping you in this way, even if it's something small, going to pick up a garment for you or dropping a garment at a seamstress, all of those things go a long way, especially if it's helping you in some way to continue the work that you're doing. And then many times it could just be a small thing where my parents would come by and bring me some coffee or some tea when they would see me up late hours just designing, creating. And it could be very exhausting, but either way, see the dreams through to the other side. And then at the end of that, when I have nothing else to give, I usually call upon the ancestors. I think about them working in the fields and the fact that they survived so that I could be. I have no choice to be successful and to move forward and push my dreams through. So, Radhika, what about you?
When it comes on to sitting and planning things for hours, it's a given with events. I am the event coordinator under the Young Adults Ministry at my church. And, I love the events that I do because it's youth development focus. And, we have our annual prayer picnic, which was an initiative of mine. And it's just a beautiful event that allows youth to gather, reflect on the principles and teaching of Jesus Christ while fellowshipping, because fellowship is important in Christendom. And you hear me talking about Jesus. So when it comes on to support, I'll definitely say that's where my main source of support come from. When I'm creating anything, whether it be my graphics, whether it be poetry, whatever creative endeavor I'm on, I always seek the Lord first. When it says seek ye first the kingdom of God, that's me. I always seek the Lord first, and I ask him to allow me to do what I'm doing well, even when, because I do hear on the side sometimes too. Can you tell that I do a lot of things, and when I'm doing the hair, I always pray and I say, Lord, allow this hairstyle to be a reflection of you. Allow me to do the person's hair well. And because creating is just a beautiful thing, and I believe that when we create things, it's actually a spiritual exchange, it's a spiritual release. So I always invite the Lord in my endeavor. So he's my main support. I'm a can't lift up mommy she. Nice, right through. Any resources that I need, my biggest hype man, that's my mom. And I am surrounded by some beautiful, beautiful friends who believe in me sometime more than how me believe in myself. And it's because of those friends why I even started my own, calendar line. So now I create calendars, and I sell them and I make money. And, so definitely I have a strong support system, and I can't leave out my cousin. She's my eldest cousin. A business guru is what I love to call her. Shout out Manaya's Closet for all of your good perfume on Instagram, okay? She's always, inspiring me to be my best self, always, advising me to ensure that I'm monetizing on my talents and I'm not just sitting on them. So when it comes on to support, I can relate to that. And when it comes on to sitting down and planning things for hours, yeah, man, most definitely. Boy, Rachel, that was a mouthful just now. But speaking of mouthful, girl, I had the best saltfish fritters this morning for breakfast. You see, when Rosalie said, Jakes, more rice, me say, Chef, more fritters. Rachel, what's your favorite food?
All right. So for breakfast, I love ackee and saltfish with fried dumpling and breadfruit. I'm a breadfruit girly, although I know people say that breadfruit make you coward, but whatever. I'll eat breadfruit for the rest of my life. Love it down. I love rundown with green banana and boiled dumplings, red pea stew with fried chicken and white rice. My mom makes this the best ginger fried chicken. My dad makes the best fritters. Sorry, mommy. Love cornmeal porridge. Yeah. And then my favorite fruit, lychee. Love it down. I can eat lychee forever. I love lychee drinks, lychee everything. Also, for dessert, I love birthday cake, my favorite. I love chocolate cake, also another one of my favorite. I do love bun and cheese. I can eat that every day, all day, That's literally how I turned into a piece of bun before. But anyway, what about you? What's your favorite dessert?
My favorite dessert will definitely have to be carrot cake. And in a close second place is our very own, Christmas cake, black cake,
Yeah.
wine cake. Listen, top tier
Good.
chef's kiss.
Yeah.
And me's a cheesecake girly. Any cheesecake,
You're a cheesecake.
any flavor. Give me a good cheesecake and I am there. Speaking of food, how do chefs nurture their craft with creativity?
All right. So I feel like chefs nurture their creativity through planning, tasting, timing, and experiments. But you know what? To be sure, let's actually hear from one of our prominent Jamaican chefs, Candace Carr. Exemplar of culture, Chef Candace Carr. We are joined by a distinguished culinary entrepreneur who has turned a vision of bespoke dining into a successful business. Chef Candace Carr. As the force behind her gourmet private catering company, Chef Carr's philosophy is captured perfectly by her promise. You dream it, I'll make it. Her commitment to personalization results in impressive menus, from elegant appetizers like crab spring rolls to perfectly executed main courses such as seared tuna and sautéed vegetables. This week, she's taken the entrepreneurial drive and skill to the ultimate test as she competes on the Maggie Food Court Caribbean, showcasing the ingenuity of Jamaican food service to the wider Caribbean.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm so happy to be here and excited to get this started.
Candace, your journey from a culinary passion to a successful gourmet private catering business in Kingston is truly inspiring. Can you walk us through the moment you decided to launch your business with the philosophy of dream it, I'll make it?
That philosophy came about from my partner. He has been an instrumental help in the last couple of years with my business and the growth. And when I asked him about it, he said to me, it came to him from watching how I present myself in the kitchen and just how I interact with the customers to facilitate their dreams and what they would want in their culinary experience. So that is where that came about.
In that journey, what was the most significant ups and downs you experienced growing a company in the Jamaican market? And what is the most single crucial piece of advice you would share with the new entrepreneur looking to build their own creative brand in the local culinary sector?
The ups and downs, there's plenty. This industry has a lot of chefs, and we all bring our own unique flares and styles to this industry. So it's having so many options of who you can choose to cater for you or have that experience with. The ups and downs also come with financing. You have to love it. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of hours. It takes a lot of dedication. You have to believe in yourself, trust in yourself, trust in your creativity and your process, and stay current with all the trends and different things that are happening. So those are some of the solid advice that I'd give you. And know that even though it can take money, what you put in is what you get out.
Your catering emphasizes elevating the culinary experience. How do you successfully fuse exquisite international techniques, such as pairing seared tuna or pan-seared herb chicken with the traditional core flavors and cultural heart of Jamaican cuisine, without losing authenticity?
Jamaica has the best food in the world. Our flavors are unmatched. So to fuse any other cuisine with Jamaican is just elevating it to another level. So how I stay authentic is I love French food. That's, our basis of our training is French. So to incorporate our seasonings and our flavors and ginger and thyme and just the different things that makes Jamaican cuisine ours is how I stay authentic.
As you compete on Maggie Food Court Caribbean, you are tasked with representing Jamaica's culinary identity against 5 other nations. Jamaica forever. In your professional opinion, what is the single most important cultural element or flavor profile that defines the brand Jamaica palate? And how do you ensure that message comes across to a regional panel?
Jamaican food is a star amongst everywhere that you go. And now looking out in like the diaspora and all the world, everybody is so interested in our cuisine and what we bring to the table and our different flavors, from jerk to just our regular stewed chicken, or how we do our curry is different from how Indians do it. So representing Jamaica on Maggie has always been a dream, and this is my 2nd season. So doing it again, I have so much pride and so much that I want to showcase of Jamaica, our culture, and just our food, our seasoning, and our vibes. Honestly, if you go into a kitchen with anyone in the Caribbean or in a different part of the world, you'd know that it's a Jamaican chef, not just because of the seasonings that we use, but just because of our vibes, our presence. And that is really what it is, and what you will see in Maggie as well. From not just me as a Jamaican chef, but from like everyone.
Your business is built on bespoke private catering. How do you utilize your unique platform to introduce and educate international or local clients about the depth and history of Jamaican ingredients, turning a meal into a cultural experience that exceeds their expectations?
For me, my process whenever I'm doing a private catering is want to find out who my clients are, like their personality and who they are and what they like, what they dislike, and we can build from there. And I try to instill fusion. Like a couple of months ago, I was approached to do a wedding, and the bride is British and the husband is Jamaican. And it was just trying to bring those two cultures together and fusing it together and hearing what she wants from what he wants and then putting in my own and be like, okay, we should go this direction and that direction. So that is what I use, me personally, to kind of educate and be what my client would want. And tell them, this would go pair well with this, or this flavor would be nicer with this particular thing.
Candace, thank you for bringing us on this journey so far. Let's take a quick break and hear from Dr. Deborah Hicklin-Gordon on the cultural and creative industries product distribution.
So now we see that the products, services, and expressions of our culture and creativity, like our music, our films, our digital products, our books, and our commercials, are created and produced and distributed through our cultural and creative industries. And we see that our cultural and creative economy looks at the bigger picture, how we turn that commercial activity and our natural tallow spirit into a diverse, structured, protected sector or economy. And then how we use that sector to develop sustainable societies. Why is it so vital for us in the Caribbean? Well, Caribbean societies at the moment are facing all sorts of threats and risks. Climate disasters, economic uncertainty, and now a whole lot more geopolitical tension. So we have to grow our economies and develop our societies to become more independent and robust. This sector, the cultural and creative sector, is our best bet for sustainable development and economic diversification at this phase of our development. And the data doesn't lie. Recent reports in Jamaica shows that the Jamaican creative economy contributes an estimated 5.1% to our GDP, and that's roughly 107 billion Jamaican dollars annually. That is higher than the global average of 3% of contribution to GDP. So suppose we were really taking it seriously, and suppose we were doing the things that you learn that you need to do in the Bachelor of Arts and of Cultural and Creative Industries. Suppose we were doing these things, we would be much further ahead.
That was a vivid and robust deep dive about product distribution. Now, let's hear more from Chef Candace Carr. What are some of the lesser-known culturally significant Jamaican ingredients? Like, for example, specific roots, herbs, or fruits you are currently sourcing or experimenting with to create truly unique flavors.
So the vegetable is chocho. A lot of people underestimate the power of chocho. We use it in soups and it kind of tastes like either nothing or similar to what the soup is, but you can do so much with it. In this season, I've poached it, which was very exciting for the judge and the host of the show to see. I've done purees and pickled it, not just in escovitch, but actually pickled it to make a salad. So there's so much things that chocho can do. It's so versatile. Never had a mac and cheese with chocho? You should call me. I'll make it for you.
Furthermore, how do you see the culinary trends and demands of the Jamaican diaspora influencing the direction of gourmet cuisine back home in Kingston?
We're trying to uplift Jamaican food and make it more elegant and sophisticated and 5-star. And throughout this journey, I've seen where the food has evolved. And not because, you're used to ackee and saltfish looking a particular way means that if I tell you that I'm going to use the saltfish water to make caviar or blend the ackee into a pasta, that's still a version of ackee and saltfish, but it's just elevated. And I think that is the way that we as the culinary industry wants to go. We want to put Jamaica more forward and on the map and be different and think outside of the box. Move from, yes, this is traditional and yes, this is Jamaican. Even like jerk, for example, everybody knows our jerk, but how can we do that different? How can we elevate, just uplift Jamaica in the culinary aspect? So it's nice to see that, and I'm happy to be a part of that trend to elevate and to educate. We have to, for me especially, each chef has their own, lane that they specialize in. Mine is flavors. I will sit and for hours wondering, does this go with this? Why does this go with this? Maybe I should try this, and be bold and daring with just different flavors and different ingredients. So that is important and special to me.
If you could whisper 3 words of wisdom to your high school self right before you started your career journey, what would they be? And how would you encourage yourself to overcome your biggest fear about the future?
It wouldn't be 3 words. I would just tell myself that, one, have faith in yourself and trust God. 2, come out of your head a lot. You've been hiding away and shy, and just trusting God. Remember your faith and be grounded. And 3, just go for it. No matter how much you doubt or how much you think you can't or it's unachievable, that you should just do it and just be proud of who you are and go through the journey. Just go through it, because at the end of it, you will see what your reward is.
So actually, for the pre-collegiate students, high schoolers, what advice you would give them? Let's say, they would love to become a chef and they don't know how to do it. How would you approach it? And what school would you suggest that they should go to?
The advice is, you have to love it. This industry takes a lot out of you, physically, mentally, like everything. So the first thing you'd have to know is that you love it and that you're able to dedicate yourself, your craft, your time, your everything into this industry, because it takes a lot out of you. So yes, having the skill and the talent to do it is one thing, and that's great. That's fantastic. But it takes much more than just the skill and the talent to have it. And if you possess that, there are different schools, there are different opportunities out there for you to just go ahead and make yourself immersive into our culture. I mean, if you need me, you can always hit me up on Instagram. That's there. I'm always there to give advice. But that is the most important thing. Nowadays, I think that people are coming into this industry because, oh yes, I have the talent, or I can cook, or someone told me that, oh, my food is okay. But it's much more than just that. My school, Runaway Bay Heart, being heart trained in Jamaica is one of the best things that you could do for yourself. And of course, there are lots of different amazing international schools that you could go to. But here in Jamaica, get heart certified. I mean, it will open doors for you. That's where I started and fell more in love with what I did, and they fostered my skill. So I would recommend heart to anyone.
Candace, let's take time for chat. What is your favorite Jamaican proverb or cultural reference?
My favorite proverb, or the one that describes me, is "Maliko but matalawa," because I'm really small in size. I really am. But the proverb is basically saying you're small but mighty. And that is how I see myself. I get underestimated a lot. But with my faith, with my skill and my talent and my drive, I am mighty. So, Maliko but matalawa.
Candace, do you have any final words of wisdom?
I've been in this industry for a little over 10 years, but I've been cooking since I was 4. So my kind of journey into that started with a very salty mac and cheese that my uncle sat with me and ate, even though it was the saltiest thing in the world. And, he is one of the reasons why I am who I am today in my culinary journey. You know, he started with pineapple chicken and that evolved into something else. So as I said, you know, Little But with Talawa is just like Jamaica. You know, we are a small country, but when we go out in the world or on different stages, like, we're mighty. And I'm so happy to represent that and be a part of the legacy of what Jamaica is and what we put out there.
Candace, those are some excellent words of advice and wisdom and guidance. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing more success in your future. Join us in 2 weeks while we connect with and interview perfumer Edwin Bruce.
Creative culture, where the vibes meet the vision.
Special thank you to our guest, Candace Carr, host, Rachel and Radhika Myers, contributor, Dr. Deborah Hickling Gordon, our sound and audio engineer, Dr. Ray Hitchens. Musical selections produced and composed by Courtney Edwards, also known as Kingman. Our executive producer and editor, Rachel Ann Fenderson. And our ICS director, Dr. Dave Goss. The Creative Frequency podcast is brought to you by the Institute of Caribbean Studies, under the umbrella of the Faculty of Humanities and Education at the University of the West Indies, Mona. You can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or wherever you can catch us.